So, world order. So, over the next few years, we will see that a lot of the propaganda and negativity put out into the media about President Donald J. Trump will be a lie. Much of what we hear about how he's going to blow up the United States, or he's gonna get us involved in wars and things of that nature. He's going to tank the economy. To those who pay attention, we're already seeing signs that that is not correct. We already knew that that was incorrect. We knew what he represented. I think people need to realize that Trump being elected, President Donald J. Trump being elected into the White House was not about him specifically, but about what people wanted him to do. And this is on all sides. This is the same mentality used by the Electoral College, by other people in power in different parts of the world, which he still does have a connection to them. Everyone says he's rogue. No one in politics is rogue. You have to work with everyone. He's stated that time and time again. He's worked with most of the people that he ran against. At that level, everyone works together, regardless of gender. People need to really get over this issue of genderism and phobia and racism, because at the very top it doesn't exist with a lot of elitism. Elitism is just about being the best, the richest, and the most powerful. That's the message that people need to really realize about government, because I think now really all the secrets about government and how government is run is out. All the information is out. But however, the masses of the people reject it. But anyway, this video is about the win that occurred as a result of the meeting between President Donald Trump and Prime Minister. I always called him Abe, but it's President Abe Shinzo, or Shinzo Abe. Most of us always get that um, mixed up. But anyway, that meeting was monumental in the fact that, as much as people don't like him, President Donald J. Trump, with that one meeting, he made bigger steps with Japan, in working with Japan, than President Obama did. You know, a lot that people dislike about Obama is not really about race. I mean, there are some low thinking, lower intelligent beings out there who run primarily and base all of their emotions, thinking, thoughts, rhetoric upon race. But there are other people who realize, especially leaders of nations, who realize that Obama would provide an easy period for most of the countries in the world, because although he was in politics, he was still very young and naive. He didn't really know how politics worked. He was probably the biggest puppet in the United States White House, maybe ever in history. You know, he didn't really want to offend people. He wanted an easy period, a quiet period, a period with no conflict. He was so busy wanting to be a little bit different and kinder and gentler, as opposed to all the other presidents, that he really did not act and stand up as a president in dealing with other nations around the world. And a lot of people saw that and had issues with him on that level alone. Not everything is fueled by racism. Like I said, you're going to have a segment of the population that are just that low thinking and unintelligent, that that's what they're going to base everything on. But a lot of people just did not feel, government wise, political wise, that he uh, would get a job done. Yes, he would mend the ties that President Bush broke or severed. But as far as getting things done, in the White House, making monumental strides. He didn't, and we can look at different communities. That can be argued, but I mean, it's pretty much a general consensus at this point among different ethnicities about what President Obama did in the White House and how it affected the um, American people. We can just look at the carnage. Anyway, by President Donald Trump meeting with with the Prime Minister of Japan, he was able to, I think, from what I saw and what I felt as an intuitive person, he was able to introduce his energy, his stance, who he is as a man, to that, not only that nation but to the people of that nation. I think that other heads of nation, other heads of government liked Obama, but they did not necessarily respect Obama. We're talking about the most elite in the world, the people, the heads of power on planet Earth, sitting in the government seat, because not all the people who are in power sit in the seat of government. We should know that already. However, we have a man who is presenting himself to the heads of nations now and telling them that, no, I don't have a political background, but I am smart in business. And what I don't know in business, I have other people behind me who know in business. And a lot of things are going to change. And everyone thinking that President Trump is just going to come out there as a yahoo and just tell people what to do, that's unreasonable. I think that's a lot of fear projection of more the American people than him really acting that way. I really don't think that behind closed doors that's how President Donald Trump conducts himself. I think he is a showman. We know he's a showman. He's had a show on television for 10, 12 years. However, I think that when it comes down to really getting down to the brass tacks of business, he's a serious person. He has an objective, and he's there to accomplish it, just hands down. And he doesn't like to waste a lot of time. So I think that within this meeting, the Prime Minister of Japan saw a really different face of America. I think that in what I sensed, intuitively about the Prime Minister is that he has a different type of respect for the United States now. And as he says, that he recognizes that President Donald Trump does not have experience politically, but he's a great businessman. And that says something to people. So it's like, okay, if I want to pass off a certain type of deal or have a certain, or to handle you in a certain manner, I have to take into account that you know business. You know how the world works. You know how money works. And we hate to tell people, as much as people have like this shiny, happy view of life in the planet Earth, life really doesn't function that way. Governments are the biggest businesses on the planet. It's all about money. It's all about finances, economy. Economy is money. Economy is about commerce, industry, and business. And that's another big reason why President Donald Trump is called President Donald Trump at this particular moment, because he is brighter in that respect than his former running mates. Okay, so if you paid attention, and I am going to leave the link down to the press conference, which was very interesting. What I picked up on from Prime Minister of Japan is that he was very happy. He was very happy. Now, if you've studied or studied or seen Prime Minister Abe Shinzo on, um, if you've sorry, if you've seen him on television, even in Japan, you can see that although he's a stern person, he's a very focused individual. He's not a person full of bravado. He's not an unhappy man. You can see that. However, when meeting with President Donald J. Trump, he just seemed to be very relaxed. If you watch his body language, if you just, I want to say pick up on his energy, but only certain people are going to be able to understand what that means. But if you really just study him, just stare at him, just look at him, you can see that he's very relaxed with President Donald Trump. He's not in fear of him like everyone says that all these nations are going to get ready to fight. I think the people who have, the nations that have the biggest problems with President Donald Trump are not going to be Asian nations. They're going to be countries like Japan. I mean, excuse me, they're going to be countries like Germany, like France, like these countries, heads of the EU. This is what we're seeing. Those are the countries that are going to have a problem with him. But Asian countries, if he can sit down with China, if he can sit down with Vladimir Putin, we need to really pay attention. We really need to study. We need to really have a little bit of foundation with these countries and with these people, and understand that in order for him to have such a camaraderie with these heads of nations, that is significant. Because quite as it's kept, Germany doesn't have that relationship with Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin doesn't even want to deal with Angela Merkel and, you know, France, and he looks at them like they are beneath him. That's another video that I will do later. However, and he wastes no time putting that energy out. He wastes absolutely no time. He's just like, you don't have the intellect to sit across from me. That's just how he feels. However, anyway, Prime Minister just appeared so relaxed, so open, so willing, more than we've probably ever seen him, even around President Obama. Yet I think he liked President Obama, or he found him easier to deal with, because President Obama posed no energetic threat. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't, there was no hostility. He was pretty much a, hey, what's up, man, type of president. However, I think that Prime Minister respects President Donald J. Trump's business acumen, and he respects his effectiveness. We're talking about government here. We're not talking about, people who run corporations exactly. We're talking about the corporations of the world, countries. And you can just see it in his being that he has a very cooperative nature. Not to say that everything is 1,000%, but between the two nations, however, President or Prime Minister, Abe is ready to work. He's ready to try to mend any fences. I'm glad they brought up the manipulation of currency, because those of us who travel and are throughout and travel throughout Asia, we know that that is a separate video. That is such a separate video. Traveling under the U.S. dollar, going to some of these countries, the prices, the inflation, the currency is worth X amount, but yet the nation is in a second world status. Now, we're not talking about Japan. We're not talking about Japan, but just throughout Asia. We know that the currencies, when they're running neck and neck with the U.S., something's just not right. But like I said, that's another video. But I'm glad that, President Donald Trump addressed that with Prime Minister. That was very important. And he said that, we're at a great start, and, we will be bringing more jobs here to the U.S. This is monumental. And I hope people will recognize that, to have such a strengthened and much more improved relationship with Japan is monumental. They are the first world country of Asia. Like, it's monumental. So I'm going to end this video. But it's a win for the U.S. in a way that there hasn't been a win with Japan in a long time. Japan has really been suffering as far as industry and economy. That is another video. That's another video. And when I say suffering, a lot of growth in inventiveness and um, just enterprise has really been stifled maybe over the last decade and a half out of Japan. And perhaps working with President Donald Trump, it could even benefit them in this way. Because we all know, or those of us who have done our research, Japan was heavy in the 80s. China was heavy in the 80s and 90s. I mean, there was so much Asian influence in the United States in the 80s. So much. And it has dropped down significantly for a myriad of reasons. However, I'm not going to get into that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You can leave your comments and ideas at the bottom. If you like this information, then you may go ahead and either donate or hit the like button. However, this is really a win for Americans because more jobs, especially more jobs in the automotive industry, is a sign that some of you who do not have jobs or are looking for a trade to get into should start taking automotive classes right now. Maybe I'll do that other video. Everyone's talking about preparing people for uh, the age of Trump. The age of Trump is a blip as far as this whole new world order and how the world is shifting. But anyway, I have plenty of videos to do, so I'll get to them in time. Until then, thank you for watching.